Well, good evening and welcome to Cab Crew Wednesday on this April the 15th. And I'd like to say, hope everybody's doing well and enjoying their week so far. And let's say hello to everybody. And John Nippenberg was here first. Welcome, John. How you doing? He put out some very neat videos. I like watching them. They're pretty cool. Then we got Todd Armstrong. Hey, Todd, welcome. Glad to see you in here tonight. Then we got Russ and Rockin' and Trains and stuff. Hey, Russ, welcome. He's in here. And then we got Mike from Putnam Junction. Hey, Mike, how's things across the pond? Glad to see you in here tonight. Good morning there. And then we got John from Schuylkill River Valley. Hey, John, welcome. Big day today. We got Chuck Shriver's here. Hey, Chuck, welcome. How you doing today? Good to see you here. We got DB Tech Dave is here. Hey, Dave, welcome. How you doing? We got the White Curlies here. Yep, you can hear the chickens. That's right, Dwight. And let's see if anybody else popped in. No. Yeah, so you guys can hear everything. It's good. So, well, this is for John, the Schuylkill River Valley. Happy Tax Day, April the 15th. If you don't have them in today by midnight and you didn't file for an extension, you're in big trouble. You're welcome, John. And it's just funny how some people wait to the last minute to get things done, I guess. I did mine a month ago. Then I did my family's about 2 weeks ago. They got theirs all done. I got them all done for them because I do. I buy TurboTax and I set them up. Yeah, I bet you do. And they're probably the ones that have to pay. That the ones that go late. So Barbara was telling me her son filed their taxes and they rejected them. I never heard of anybody getting a rejected return right from the get go unless it was audited. But they must have missed some kind of form or something that they forgot to put in the return or something. So, yeah, they always, yeah, that's probably right. Why should I have to pay? Right. Well, if you paid your taxes every quarter like you're supposed to, then you wouldn't have this problem, right? Even when I was a 1099 contractor for maybe 10 years, and I always had them take out the taxes up front. I didn't want to have to deal with it at the end of the year trying to figure out how to. I have to pay Virginia, which would be May 1st, taking a check to the post office on April 30th. Yeah, well, is that for property taxes, John? Yeah, I don't have to worry about property taxes either because I have a mortgage, and the mortgage company is responsible. Hey, Steve from Wigwag, welcome. How you doing tonight? I don't have to worry about that because the bank takes care of paying the taxes every quarter, my property taxes. That's the only thing I have to worry about anymore. Being retired, I don't have any income except for Social Security and that sort of thing. Yeah, Virginia income taxes. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, our state taxes and federal are always due on the same day, April 15th. New Jersey, I live in New Jersey, and theirs is due the 15th also. Um, I don't do the state electronically. I mail it in because they want to charge you $25 to process it electronically, which is, I think, is a ripoff. They should do it just for, hey, Chris, Model Trains, Alfonsiano, welcome. How you doing tonight? Thanks for stopping in. And so it's some crazy things sometimes. So yeah, MTA is pretty good, John. It shortens out. That's a long channel name Chris has, but it's a cool one. I like that channel name. So, and we got a good, nice little crew in here this evening. And today's weather was really great. It was in the 80s here today in New Jersey. I don't know how high it was. It was supposed to get up to 90 in some spots, but yeah, exactly, John. 25 hours just to file electronically. Now, the federal government allows you to file for free electronically, but the state wants you to pay 25 hours so you can file electronically. You would think they would give it to you for free, because if you do it electronically, then they got less paper on their hands. So that's how backwards the states are compared to the federal government. Hey, Thomas, welcome. How you doing? Thanks for stopping in. So anyway, that's what's going on with that. And the getting all the taxes, I like to get mine done as early as I can. But this year I had a hard time on Amazon ordering, very good, ordering the TurboTax software, because that's where I get it from, Amazon. And then they give you a link to the download page, and then you download it, and then they give you the product key, and then you enter the product key into the software, and then you can run it. So, but this year they were having trouble with my credit cards that I was trying to use to order it with, and I contacted them, and they couldn't figure it out either. And then I finally got one that worked, and that was the end of that. So always something with Mr. Amazon anymore these days. So I was a little reluctant, but I did order something from Amazon, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit. So as you know, I was talking about my signals for the last couple of shows. Oh, really? You found one. Nice. So, the signals I got, and it's a little bit difficult project, more than I thought it was. Very, very nice, Thomas. So it was very difficult in some spots. Some are hard to get to. Some are hard to get out of the hole. So what I do, like I put up a video showing how I do the signals and everything, but in the video I didn't show removing the signals from the layout, and that's the hardest part in some cases, because when I put the signals in, I was gluing them with like Elmer's glue. I would glue in, and then that fell down into the straw, which then coated the wires a little bit. And then it finally got to a point where it stopped. And then the straw is only a certain diameter, and it made a little hole to a local library might be able to do it for you, Thomas. Um, they have 3D printers at libraries. Maybe they can do it for you. And they put that in there, and then it gets stuck in there. And then when you go try to pull it out, you can't. And some of the straws you can't pull out of the hole. So it's very difficult. And I got two layout. I got one layout done the other day, and I'm working on the other section across from that layout. And they, the last 6 are in my lower yard, and they were a shaft with 2 signal heads on either side. And they didn't work out that great because they kept on getting hit and everything. So I got to drill new holes over there for the new dwarf signals when I put them in. So that's going to take a little longer than what I thought and everything. So, and then, you're soldering the LEDs together, and then you test them, and then the light don't come on, and you have a bad LED, and it happens. But you wish they would just all go, but they don't. Then you get it back on the layout. Then you find that the light is not working, because I really didn't test them before because first of all, I couldn't see the signals. They were so small. And I don't know if they were working or not working. Some of them, if they're facing me, when I'm looking at the layout, I can see that the LEDs are on. And when I switch the turnouts, they switch from green to red or whatever. And I see them. But the door signals were so low to the ground, and some are facing a direction where I can't see. And I was going to put mirrors on the wall behind there so I could see the signals from the front and everything. I never got around to doing that. You need 2 people to do that, stuff like that. So it's just one person here. It's hard to do sometimes. So, but now the signals, the back is open on those that I 3D printed, and I can see the light in the back now. So those other ones I'll be able to tell looking at them, whatever direction they're in. So that makes it a little easier for me. That wasn't done by design. That was just the way I made the signal head. That was so that I can get the LEDs in there easier, and the wires through the hole and everything. So makes it a lot better. So I got just have the helix. That's the biggest part that I need to get done. That has the most. There's 26 more signals on the helix I got to change. They'll go a lot easier. That's why I left that for last, because it's exposed. Okay. I don't have no layout to go underneath to get up and work underneath or anything like that. And the helix is should be a lot easier to do than the other levels were. And like some of the other ones, I had to reset the NCE lighted to get it worked. Now, this is the beauty of how I installed all this originally. The lighteds have 2 wires that have to go to an accessory bus line. That's how they get their power. So there's 2 wires to go there. they have a clip-on connector, and they clip onto the connector on the bus line. And then the other 3 wires for red, green, and common, they're screwed into a terminal block. So I just have to unscrew those wires, remove the 2 wires from the bus line, take the light it down, and I take it to my workbench, and then I try to run that through the aspects. I have 3 LEDs soldered together with resistors on jumpers, and I jumper the wires with them, and then I can show the lights and everything on my workbench. So I don't need to take the signal out or, whatever. So, and sometimes you connect them, you think everything's good. What are the sites you use for 3D printer program downloads? Chris, I use Thingiverse. That's the first one I started using, Thingiverse. Sometimes Colts. Colts has sometimes you have to pay for the ones on Colts. They're not the free ones. Thingiverse is all free stuff on Thingiverse. That's why a lot of guys post on Thingiverse. And then I use Printables. That's another site. And then on my phone, I have the Bamboo Labs app on my phone. And when I go in there, I can browse through files on there and just select the file. And then I can say, send it to the printer, and it'll start printing that file directly. So about 4 sites. Sometimes I go to Etsy, but that's all payable files. If I need something specialized that I can't find anywhere else, yeah, that's right. Colts is that site. And if you go to like Yegi, and they link you, Yegi links you to the sites. Yegi doesn't have, if any, files themselves. All they do is put links to Colts or Thingiverse or Printables. I really like the Printable site because that one there, thanks, John, for the links. That's how about Chris? Printables, when you download those files, they're usually very good. I mean, there's no errors in the files. The things from Thingiverse and Colts, I always check them with my 3D Builder program, and most of the times I find errors in the file, and I have to fix the files. But it's not a big deal to fix the files with 3D Builder. You just click on the button and boom, it goes. Hey, Dave, welcome from Stormy Sky Rail Productions. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. Say hello to Steve and Jenny for me when you see them. So so that's where I get them, Chris. So I think it was Russ was wondering about lounge music while they're waiting for the stream to get going. And ever since my second video, when I had the TV on in my living room, which is 2 rooms across from my train room. My train room I'm sitting in, and then the next room over is the dining area, and then the living room. The TV was on in there, and it wasn't playing real loud. And when I was videoing in my train room, a commercial came on with music, and the camcorder was so good it picked up the music off of the commercial, and I didn't notice that when I went through the video, and then I posted it, and then I got a strike from YouTube. So I haven't even thought about putting music on at all. Now, when I do shorts on my phone, then I can add music from there. That just selects it from the YouTube library, and sometimes I do that. So I think I have Colts. I've been printing nonstop for 3 days. 3D printers are fun. Yes, they are, Chris. Once you get one, you never know what you're going to need it for. Like, I printed some people, workers for my yard towers. I'm going to show you that in a minute. And they're on the resin printer, and I print them. Then Barbara comes over, she paints them, or I give them to her. She takes them home, she paints them there. Wherever it's easier for her to paint them, she paints them, and then brings them back to me. And then I have a nice bunch of workers. So, we did that, got them painted, and then the filament printers. There's always something I have to make, and one of the signals, I had a sign with 2 of the numbers on it, and I needed a post, and I printed it up yesterday. It took me 2 minutes to print the post, and on the resin printer, and it was a real thin one, only about maybe that tall, about an inch and a half tall, to hold the number of the signal, because every signal has one of those signs, and that's the address of the light that controls that signal. So if you ever come to my layout and you're looking and you see a white sign with a red number on it, you say, oh, that's that address for that signal. So that's why I did that, so I would know which ones they are and stuff like that. So, and so like I said, each one is a new challenge, putting them in and the signals in and everything, and it makes it difficult. And then I got to drill a couple more holes. So what I did is I made a T out of a piece of rail I had, maybe about a 10-inch piece of rail, and then I put a foam pin on it and taped it on there, and I stuck it in the hole where it originally is, and then I go underneath the layout, see where that is, and then I look around the vicinity of that original hole to make sure there's nothing screwed up underneath there, so that when I drill down through the holes and make new holes, I won't drill into anything. Like, I know where the tourist machines are, because they're right underneath the other machines. They're right underneath the turnouts. I know where they are, but there's terminal blocks mounted there. There's light holders, there's DB20 holders, all mounted under the layout, and they're all over the place. You don't know where they're going to be. So that I use that tool to identify an area, so I know where I can drill and everything. So it makes it good. So I got to do that tomorrow. I don't like making holes at nighttime. It's a little too dark to do that. So, so what I have, so as doing all the signals, and then the LEDs don't work for whatever reason, and so you might have to use 2 of the same color LEDs because one didn't work, and you get one that does work, stuff like that. And the whole problem is you can't test the LEDs easily enough before you solder them in, because you need to have a resistor on there. So I don't know. Maybe what I'll do is get jumper cables and then put a resistor on each alligator clip, and then touch the LEDs. Then I can test it, make sure it works before soldering it and everything. So maybe I can do that, because they burn up if you just hook them directly to the track power. That's how I test them all. I just have my DCC test system there. Yeah, downloaded some cool stuff from Colts. Very good. Hope you do a video of that, Chris. I look forward to seeing how your printer is working for you. So it's Colts has some good stuff. They all those sites we mentioned have good stuff, and I like I say, I like printables the best, and the Bamboo Labs site, I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but it has cool stuff on it too. So, and then I go on Tinkercad and design my own stuff. Like I needed this chair extension and all that. Maker World, that's the one. Yeah, that's Bamboo Labs, Maker World. So that's supported by Bamboo Labs, John. Yeah. So sounds good. Yeah. So this is let me just get that. Here's the tower. I showed you these before, but then inside, let me make myself bigger. Hold on. Here we go. And you can see all the people in there. And there's the spiral staircase. There's a table, a cabinet, desk organizer, for people, a couple guys standing in there, girl standing by the cabinet there, the other two guys outside pointing and everything. So, and then I got two guys down there by the door, stuff like that. And that wire is for the LED. Thanks, John. And so that's going up in the other side of the yard. But I got to clear up all those wires, because that's where it's going, in that one spot. And let me bring up this one. That's the other tower I made. Yeah, all 3D printed. Everything on that tower is 3D printed except for the LED, of course, and the wire. All the people I 3D printed, and the whole tower is 3D printed, and Barbara did the painting of the people for me. And as you can see the people inside there, and there's no light in that building yet. You can see the wire here. So I haven't gotten up there to hook that up yet, and I'll do that later on. I gotta put some landscaping down in front of that area, and go with that. So yeah, that's up there by the round table, or the turntable and the roundhouses, and so, and I can see it. That's on the 5th level. That's number 5, level 5. That's all way. So that's way up there, and that thing, I can see it standing down on the floor. I can see it. I don't have to get up on a ladder to see it because it's pretty tall. So came out pretty good. And this one here, I didn't have to paint this one at all. I painted these parts here in silver filament. I painted the walls, the 4 walls in red filament, and you can see the brickwork on it. It's very clear, and I'm looking at it on a screen here, and I can see the detail on it. You may not be able to see it in the video, but that's all 3D printed. That window on the top level is all 3D printed in red. The roof was printed in black filament, yellow for the steps, and silver for the furniture. And no painting. And all the windows inserted in the building were all painted, or all printed in black filament. Oh, you can see the brick detail? Yeah, good. Yeah, because they came out pretty good. So I was going to try and do a little more on it, but I said, they look fine to me. They're good enough. Like, I like to see the mortar in between the bricks, but I would have to make a mortar wash, and it would go over, and it wouldn't cover the red. It would go in the cracks and stuff. But that's maybe another day down the road or something. I don't know. I'll make it so I can disconnect the light wire from the wherever I'm going to connect it to, and then I can disconnect it and bring it up and do some more detail on it if I want to. But yeah, I got more workers, and I had another building I did for the yard. I think it was an operations yard. Yeah, that's right. It's amazing what you can do. Now, this, Chris, was done on a filament printer. This wasn't done on a resin printer. This building was all done on my Bamboo Labs A1 or the Mini. I used both of them to print the parts. And the only thing that was printed on a resin printer for this project was the workers. So, and what I use on my resin printer is all water-based resin. I used to get the other resin. Then you need to have alcohol. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Then you need alcohol all the time. And because with regular resin, you have to clean it, the build plate after it's used with alcohol. You have to clean the model with alcohol. So I had to have a bin filled with alcohol that I would dip the models in and take them out, and then put it in the curing station, stuff like that. But with the water-based, it's great. You just, I have a plastic bin filled with water, and I take the whole build plate off of the printer with the model still attached and put it in the bin and let it soak in water. Yeah, lots of alcohol. Switch over to water-based resin. It prints great, and it's easier to clean up than the regular resin is. The regular resin works well, but I don't like the cleanup mess. I don't like having to take alcohol. I was buying a box of 24 bottles of alcohol from Amazon. They had the cheapest price at the time. I don't know what it costs now, but I used to get a box of alcohol bottles. You know, the I don't know, whatever they were, the pint size or quart size, I don't know, 32 ounces of alcohol, 95 proof alcohol. Now, I have some bottles of alcohol left because I use alcohol to clean my uh, uh, um, the pads on the bottom of my track cleaning cars. That when you stick on those uh, uh, the sandpaper or the felt paper onto the pads and you pull them off, there's a little sticky residue left. So then I use the alcohol with a Q-tip and I clean off the pad with the alcohol and then let it dry and then I put a new pad on. So that's, you know, the beauty of that. So yeah, so I had to throw that up there. I haven't been able to do anything else with it. It's not like me to not complete a project like that, but I've been trying to get the signals all done so I can run the trains. They're not dependent on running the trains, but um, gluing them down, and then I put number 3 blocks the weights. I put it on top of the signal so it stays in place and it doesn't spin around or anything. And then when the glue hardens, then I take the weight off. But then sometimes the weights have to be across the track, and I don't want to short out the tracks. Sometimes I put a piece of paper underneath the weight to put it on a track if I'm testing when the track's on and stuff like that. That's a pain in the neck. So I'd rather not run the trains until I get them all done, and then they'll be good to go. So I should finish up this lower town tomorrow, and I had to move a couple of the trains around today. They seem to run pretty good. That's with that track cleaning tool that I use. It keeps the rails really shiny, and it's the best thing I've seen so far. And I've tried many, many different methods and many different devices to do it. And this is the best that I've come across. So the train will always have a track cleaning car on it. So when the train runs for normal running processes, it'll be cleaning the track as it's going around and stuff like that. And this weekend, the plan is to start running the trains and seeing what happens. So Mary found alcohol at the dollar store. It's only 50%, but it's good enough for cleaning my prints. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. I was getting I couldn't find 90% in the stores locally, even at the pharmacies and stuff like that. So that's why I got it off of Amazon. It was 95%. And because 50% is mainly water, it's half water and half alcohol. So, and I wonder if it's even that percentage. So who knows? Now, in the when my father was alive and he worked at a chemical plant in the town that I live in now, and he worked there for over 50 years. And I used to get ammonia, and what else did I use? Oh, chlorine. Used to get chlorine, pure chlorine from him, and I used to get a 55-gallon drum of chlorine, and that's what I used to keep the swimming pool. I would pour that in, and that would keep the swimming pool from getting algae and stuff. So I would have the hockey pucks, the chlorine hockey pucks. They were 3-inch diameter, and I had a little tube. It was maybe 12 inches, so you can get about 8 or 9 in there. Then they came out with an extension, and it was like 3.5. The whole thing was over almost 4 feet tall, and that was in a control room that I had for my filter system. And I would fill that thing up with hockey pucks, and I didn't have to do anything for almost the whole summer. It lasted a long time. Whenever the filter was running, it was putting chlorine and chlorinating the pool and stuff like that. It was pretty good. And then every once in a while, I would pour a cup of chlorine in the intake and let it zing around and stuff like that. So that's the beauties of owning an in-ground pool. That pool was 20 feet wide by 40 feet long. It had it was 10 feet deep in the deep end, and it had a diving board in the deep end. This is one, not a high diving board, this a low diving board. And then in the other end, the steps had a jacuzzi with jets there. You turn it on, and it would be, you were like we were in a jacuzzi. It was really nice. A lot of work went into that pool. But we built the house first. Then a year later, we put the pool in. And then a year after that, we had our first child. So that was the whole idea, is to have the pool for the kids when they were real young. Because when kids get in their teenagers, they don't want to be around the house anymore. They want to be out with their friends and stuff. So, but we were lucky. Our kids were with us until they graduated, because they were into sports, and we were all involved in the sports. I coached a lot of different sports. I coached football. I coached wrestling. I coached baseball. Yeah, a pool is a lot of work, John. And I covered it myself every year. And I had it, the pipelines that go to the jets around the pool. I had, you had to get the water out of those before the.
Was that for me?
No, and had to get the water out of there for to winterize it, because you didn't want the pipes to freeze, because then they would crack, and then you have a big mess. They had to dig it all up, and that's not fun. And so what I did was I dropped the water level in the pool down below the pipeline, where the jets come out. It was about maybe 18 inches of water I had to pump out. And then what I did was I took a shop vac and blew out the lines so there was no water in there. And then I filled up the lines with antifreeze, like windshield washer antifreeze type of stuff. I poured that in there, and then I capped off the plugs, or the pipe where they came out. I took the jets off, and I capped it off with a rubber stop, and then I filled the water back up to normal level, and then boom, that worked perfectly. I put the cover on. It was one of those covers that had springs on it, and you could walk on it, so nobody, could hurt themselves. And so then to take the cover off, just reverse the process. unplug the caps and turn on the filter system, and it blows out all the gunk, and then it gets cleaned up um, with the chlorine and stuff pretty easy. And I had a robot cleaner, and it did it all by itself in the pool and the bottom of the pool. Could never the new ones go up the side, and that I didn't need that. I used the regular vacuum thing to do that, stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of work. You had to put a fence up, and you had to have a certain height on the fence to go around the pool. Because people are stupid, I guess. They're gonna walk and not know where to walk in, and they're gonna walk into the pool and drown. Who knows? But you never know what's going to happen. So, I mean, we had a lot of house parties at our house, and everybody used to come because we had a swimming pool. So they loved coming to our house. We had a lot of barbecues, all that kind of stuff. And one day, my uncle was there, and he didn't realize it, and he walked right through my screen door. He didn't even see, he thought it was open. That's how clear and clean it was. Most screens are dirty and stuff. You can see him. He walked right through it and tore right out of the tracks and everything. So had to get a new one. But it was just so funny to see how that worked. Yeah, condo fees. Yeah, no, that sucked. Well, yeah, that it was a good process. It took me a few seasons to figure it out the right way. I was um, the first couple of years I had struggled because I didn't know anything, and then talking to other people, and then coming up with another, you know, yeah, you have to do things what works for you. My method may not work for you; it might work for 10 other people, but not you. And so, and we were the only one in the family that had a swimming pool. So, and my ex-wife she was the oldest of 8 kids, and they were all grown by the time we were married and had the house and everything. So they were always at our house. And sometimes I come home from work, and my wife wasn't home either, and they were at our house having a party out at our pool. And I wasn't happy about that, but sometimes you can't pick your family, right? The one thing that was the thing that made that tipped the scale, as you will, was at the house. We lived about, I don't know, we were in the country, and wasn't much around, and I had a lawn tractor that I cut the grass with. I had 2 acres of property, and there was a lot of grass to cut. Wasn't going to do that by hand. I had a tractor and cut the grass with a tractor, and he needed gas all the time. So got tired of running to the gas station, which was like 10 miles away. And I said, nah, that's this. So did some research, found a company that had a 500-gallon tank for gas. And then the same company had the gas um, pump and the gas gauge and the hose and everything. So a friend of mine came with a backhoe, dug out a flower bed that was in the front of the house, and that was a big enough area for the thing, sunk it in the ground. I hooked up the pipe, and I put the thing on there. I hooked up the electricity, and then I had gas. Now I had gas for my cars and for the tractor and everything. So the company would deliver the gas once a month. I think they were delivering gas. Well, little did I know that my ex-wife said to her family, "Oh, if you need gas, go ahead and use it." And that wasn't in the agreement. That gas was for us, not to fill up their vehicles. So I wasn't happy about that either. That was the beginning of the end. You can use the pool, but I would like to know that there's going to be somebody there when I come home. Not I'm going to be surprised that there's 15 cars in my driveway. Yeah, 500 gallon diesel. Yep. Yeah, it was 500 gallons of gas. At that time, it cost me 200, about 200, it was $200 to fill up the 500 gallon tank from nothing. And then every month they would come and they would top it off and get down to about halfway. And it was like 100, 150 sometimes. That's when gas was a lot cheaper. Nowadays, it'll probably cost me about $10,000 to fill up 500 gallons. But that was nice. I didn't have to go anywhere. I could just fill up. And I was driving 2 hours to work from where we lived there, 2 hours to get to work every day. So that was like 70, 80 miles one way trip. So I didn't have to worry about stopping anywhere to get gas. I drive back and forth. I can get probably 2 or 3 trips in a tank of gas in my car at the time. And then I come home, fill it up, and I'm ready to go. And I made a chart, and I put a clipboard out there, and I told my ex-wife, I said, okay, whenever you take gas, you got to write it down and your mileage, because we're going to see how many, try to calculate how good our mileage and stuff is. And that's how I found out that they were taking gas. Because when I added it up and I said, wait a minute, why are we getting 150 gallons this month when last month we only had to get 75 gallons? How come there's 75 gallons missing? Oh, well, I've been letting blah, 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 blah. No. That's got to stop. No. They want to get our gas, then they're going to pay for it. Yeah. Yeah, 4.51 a gallon. Yeah. Non-ethyl gas. Yep. So it's just crazy, like what you can do, So, so I talking about Amazon before. I ordered some more LEDs for this signal project because my green LEDs, I had just exactly enough of them to do all the signals I had. I counted them out and came out to be right on the money. But the green ones are the ones that I have the most trouble with when they don't work. So I've already, in the process, I had 2 signals that I didn't see when I was adding them up, and I had to create those 2. So there's 2 more green signals that I didn't have counted for. And then some of the green signals didn't work, and I had to replace them with another green light. So it's down to like minus 7 or 8 of them right now. So I had ordered them from Amazon. They're coming Friday because I also I'm running out of flux. I have that quick stop flux. That's the brand name, Quick Stop. It works really the best for electronic stuff. And it's in a syringe. I think it's 30 cc syringe that it's in. And it has 2 different kind of nozzles you can screw onto it. I always use the one with the real fine point on it. And that because I'm doing a lot of decoder installs and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fine pointing of getting the flux where you need it, stuff like that. And the wires are 22 gauge. They're not really thick wires. So I need to spread that on the wire, and I don't need a big nozzle to shoot out a lot of flux and everything. So that's coming Friday. And then tomorrow, I ordered something from eBay, but I'm going to do a video of that. I'm not going to give what that is coming. It is something of interest, and it's what it is going to be something that it's going to require me to 3D print a lot of things for it. So and they're going to be all resin printed items that I'm going to do. And we'll see how that works out. But that video of that will come out on Friday, I hope, because I always create a video, put it out on YouTube, and I let it set overnight, and that allows YouTube analytics to know about my video, and then it figures out who to send it to based on the hashtags that I put in my descriptions. And that works really well, and I'm getting a lot more views and on things like that and doing it that way, and it works out really good. Now the shorts, oh sorry, oh yeah, bosses can be a pain in the backside. That's all right, Russ. I knew you were here, but family comes first, you know. Happy wife, happy life. That's what I always said. Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, sometimes they get very demanding. I had a boss when I worked in Manhattan. That guy was Jekyll and Hyde. He was real nice, and then he was mean. And you know how you have your hand, you have it on your desk, and you're twiddling your fingers on it, and you're just like tapping your fingers on the desktop. Well, you can't see it because the camera's in my laptop. I got to get another camera view here overhead or something I'll put up. And so I'm tapping on my desk here. That used to drive him nuts. He would get, stop doing that. He's yelling everything. And one time I fixed a client's thing, and he got mad at me for fixing it without him knowing about it. I said, you should be glad I fixed it. The client's happy. You know, no, I got to know about these things. Yeah. So what are you going to do? Yeah, bosses can be rough. That's why I only worked there for 3 years. I liked working in the city, but I wasn't going to travel 4 trains every day. I took 4 trains to get to my office, and I lived in New Jersey, commuted into Manhattan, and I took 4 trains, and they were all just one stop each, but I still had to take 4 trains. And people that lived in Manhattan, I got there to the office before they did. So we all started at the same time. It was at 8 o'clock in the morning. Now, my boss came in at 10 o'clock in the morning. Don't ask me why, but he came in at 10 o'clock in the morning. But everybody else in the office came in at 8 o'clock in the morning. That was the client. And I saw me and another girl that worked in the office with my boss, and the other guy who worked remotely. We all started at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I was there before anybody else was. And they lived in Manhattan or in one of the boroughs in the city. They took longer to get there than I did going on 4 trains. So, and on the way home, a couple of times I slept on a train and I missed my stop, and I had to get on the platform and come back and get to the the conductors were really nice, and they let me get back on. Oh, that happened a couple of times. One old guy was on a train, and he something happened, and I drove him to another train station one time to help him out and stuff like that. Yeah, good citizen for today. Okay, John. Um, Happy tax season, and glad it's over. So have a good day, and we'll catch you later. Take care, John. I'm in the office at 8. My boss comes in at 10:30 or later, but I don't stay 1 minute longer than I have to. Right, exactly. Well, John, I was working in the computer field, and we would have a problem, and we had to stay all kinds of crazy hours. But when I worked in Manhattan, when 4 o'clock came, I was gone. Yeah, and my boss could handle whatever I was doing. We both did the same thing. So there was a problem, he'd be able to handle it until I got home. Then I could remotely work if I had to, and I didn't have to do that often. A couple times I remoted in remotely, not much, because the client left at 5 o'clock. They were all going at 5 o'clock. So, he stayed until 6 o'clock for whatever reason. So, yeah. But yeah, no, I didn't. That was the only place that I never stayed. Now, there was a couple times where I was working on a project outside of the office at another client's facility, and then that required me to work a little longer. Um, we had a client on not Fifth Avenue, one of those famous streets over there. I can't remember the name of it now, but he was on that, and he was at number 2 on that street. What was the name of that street? I can't think of it. Never mind. But I was there installing a satellite for him, and I was up on the top of the building. He had a penthouse on the top floor of that building, and I was up on the roof hooking up a satellite for his internet service. It's one of our clients. That was fun work. That was nice to get out of the office and stuff. We had a couple other clients, like a couple of the churches. We had to do some work for churches and stuff like that in the city and stuff like that. So all the clients were nice. And the other boss he lived in Virginia. Yeah, I think he was in Virginia, and he remoted in every day. And I met him a couple times, and he was really nice. But the guy I worked for, I said he was a Jekyll and Hyde type of guy. Nice 1 minute, and next minute screaming and yelling for no reason. So let's see what else. Oh, I got my Stream Deck working tonight. Last week I told you I got it, and I got it all, the StreamYard functions on there, and I couldn't get the go live button to work, and it works this time. It worked. I hit the go live button once, and then it comes up with the go live screen on StreamYard, and then I hit the go live button the second time, and then it goes live, because you have to click twice before you go live on StreamYard. So I hit that twice. The other button that I didn't configure yet was the setup button. And the hotkey for that, I know what it is. And I just have to go on the Stream Deck and set up the hotkey letters for the configuration button that's on StreamYard. Then you get that, and then you can go in check audio settings or your microphone and that sort of thing. So it's so I just have a couple more buttons to do. I wish. That's correct, Russ. That's my 3D printed yard tower. The one you see on the camera there. Yep. That's correct, Russ. 3D printed. Everything there you see is 3D printed. The people. Oh, I got to make myself big again. Really? Okay. See the people inside, Russ? Let me see if I can get all the workers inside. And some guy standing outside the door there waiting to go into work. And then the wire dangling down, that's for the light inside there. So it was nice. I just leave this part of it off. And then I just slide that over top. That's in case the light burns out or something like that. I have to get in there eventually in the future or whatever. So let's see if I can get this. There we go. Yeah. Thanks, John. Thanks, Russ. Yeah. It came out pretty good. Yeah, Barbara painted all the people for me. She's my painter, and she loves to paint. So it's pretty cool how that works. And so as I was talking about the Stream Deck, let's have a couple more buttons to configure, and I know what it is. And then I was trying to get comments to show up on my stream. And the only way I can do that is if I go and click on it like that. And then I can go and hide. And I can go show, right? But I don't want to have to click on him all the time. And the only way I can get comments to come up automatically is if I get chat overlay. And StreamYard has chat overlay, but it's not for the free version of StreamYard. So I said, that stinks. And nobody makes a program for this, I got to do some more research for chat overlay for StreamYard. Maybe somebody has a free version like they do for OBS. They have a chat overlay program for OBS, and that's how Jim Tedesco does his overlays and stuff like that. So, yeah, Russ, that one you see on the screen there, that's up in my where my turntable is and the roundhouse. I put that one up there, and then the one I just showed you with the people in it, that's going on the other end of my yard. So I'll have two of them up there. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think I have enough room in my lower yard for one of these. I'll have to find out and see. It only takes a couple hours to print all the parts. It's not bad. So I'll have to find out. If there's, the lower level yard is pretty crowded. So thanks, Russ. Yeah. Yeah. So they, it's pretty interesting how you have the 3D printing world, and it helps you with your modeling. If I didn't have a 3D printer, that nobody makes a model like this that you're seeing on a screen here. The yard towers are just straight up and down with steps on them, and that's it. I have one of them on my lower level going into the industry area. There's a tower there. I think that was a Walters kit, but this is a nicer model, and the deck that goes all the way around, and then I put people up there. It looks like there's things going on. So then I'll have a light in there, and it'll come on at nighttime like the rest of the lights eventually. So, yeah, I showed you guys in a video of my new chickens to the lower farm, and I set up what I do is I set up the routines in the Alexa app on my phone, and then the device, I tell it to come on or off at a certain time of the day. And I write in the comments, chickens, lower farm chickens on at 5:30 p.m. And then lower chickens off at 23:30 p.m. That's 11:30, 23:30. So I come out to the train room and it's 5:30. Hey, Ronald Redu, welcome. How you doing? Good to see you in here. I then come out here and I don't see the chickens on. I go, why aren't the chickens going? So I go on the app and I hit the button to turn them on, and it comes on. And I'm going, okay. And then I wake up in the morning and they're still on. I come over and I'm looking at the layout and I see the chickens still pecking away. And I go, what's going on? Here, I look on the app and I'm looking at the time. It says at 5:30 p.m. Well, I use 24-hour clock. I don't use 12-hour clock. So when I set up the time routine, it was for 5:30, but that's 5:30 in the morning. So what was happening was it wasn't coming on at 5:30 p.m. and it was going off at 11:30 at night, and it was coming back on at 5:30 in the morning, and boom, it was. Yeah, they do come on early. They do always get up early. Yeah, I know, but not on my layout. All my automation starts at 5 o'clock in the evening at different times after 5 o'clock. So I then went into the app and then I changed the time setting to 17:30. Hey, Jim Tedesco, welcome. How you doing? And I changed it to 17:30. Then tonight I came out here and lo and behold, they were on. I said, good. So then tomorrow morning when I wake up, they should be off. Because 23:30, 11:30, they go off automatically. So, because sometimes the Alexa app doesn't get a response from the device that's controlling the accessories. Okay, it's a smart plug, and Alexa knows about the smart plug, and that smart plug is a Wi-Fi device, and the wall wart gets plugged into the smart plug, and then that has a cable to it, which has a connector on the end and 2 wires go into that, and that gives power to that device. So no, I don't, John. They don't wake me up. The chickens that make the noise are on a different device than the chickens on the farm that I was having trouble with. Okay. Those chickens there replaced the ones that broke on me. So that finally came. No, I do not, John. No chickens waking me up in the morning. I could have it going off at I could set it up on the app to go at sun up and sunset. I could do that too. But I have an alarm in my bedroom that goes off at 8 a.m. That's in case I don't get up beforehand. And Harley comes in. He always wakes me up earlier than 8 o'clock. So he walks in and says, "Hey, it's time for you to get up." No wife here, Ronald. I have a girlfriend, but no wife. Not in this household. So no waking up. The only person that wakes me up is the Alexa app. Starts playing music and stuff like that. Then that wakes me up. That goes off at 8 a.m. in the morning. And most of the time I'm up before that because Harley comes in. He wants to go out. And no worries, no worries. Alexa is my wife here, Ronald. Ha ha ha. And so it's just stuff like that. So let's see what else I got to talk about today. Yeah, so I've been busy with the signals, and like I say, I got new holes to drill, and those over on that yard over there, I'm going to need to have 2 holes because there's 2 signals instead of 1 signal now, and it's going to be fun getting them in. There you go, 25 years, yeah. I 2004 I got divorced, so that's 22 years, right? 2004, yeah, 22 years ago. Yeah. So, well, all you need to do is get a soundboard, and then you can set it up to come on and off, and that'll wake you up. I'll send you the file that Jim Tedesco sent me. You have chickens playing for 12 hours. Yeah. So, yeah. So, other than that, just a little details. And on the lower level, I have this bridge, and then there's sidings for the track, which will help if the train fell over. And I talked to Barbara, and she's going to paint graffiti on them as soon as her eyes get better. So that's a problem. That's right, Russ. Yeah. But what are you gonna do? So, and it's just monkeying around with Oh, another thing I noticed is I got to look into. Um, when I switched over to the double pole single throw rocker switches, now when they're in the on position, it's telling the BD20 on that block that there's something on the track. And I don't know what's doing that. So that's another thing I got to investigate. Because I tested it today. I turned off a couple of the service tracks and I'm looking at the JMRI panels, and now they're all the colors of the track. They're not red. So the only tracks that should be lit up are the tracks that have cars in the sidings. So I'll light up those tracks. But the other tracks that don't have any cars on it shouldn't be lit up, but they're lighting up, and it doesn't make sense why they're lit up. So it's and I didn't notice that because the first ones that I did were in the roundhouse, and the roundhouse are not on BD20s because they're not blocks. I don't need blocks in there. So, so I didn't realize that until afterwards, and I look at my JMRI panels and I go, why are all the service tracks or all the sidings lit up? And I go, well, I don't know. So it's something else to look at down the road, but you don't know how it's going to be. So, but tomorrow I'll finish up my Rose Lake town. Let me see. Just moving the camera around a little bit. I want to show you where I'm working. There you go. So this is Rose Lake here, small town, and you got a turnout here that goes into this yard, which is in the dark, in the underneath the second level. So there's 4 tracks in there that are for that lower yard, and the switches they run along the ladder going down the yard, down right and down there. And this one here, there was one right here by this box, and that one was always getting hit. That poor thing was. I couldn't put it any closer because the platforms for the train station's there. So I think I found a spot in front of this, and that marker, I'm going to move that marker somewhere else, and then I can fit him in there. And the other 2 holes going down the ladder here are they're better located spots. So yeah, right there is the track cleaning car. That's a coal car on that train, and you can't see, it's in the dark in the back. There's a track cleaning car on the passenger train too. So to keep those tracks clean. That's that. And like I say, the Helix will be the easiest one to do, but I have to wait until I get the rest of the parts. But I'll do some of them while I'm waiting for the other LEDs to come in. I have enough red LEDs and enough yellow LEDs And then I might be able to do, I don't know, more over half of them before I have to get more green LEDs to come in. That'll be here sometime Friday. No, not yet, John. Um, as soon as I get the signals done, then the main goal this weekend is to get the trains running. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to work on those 6 signals, get them done. Once that's done, then I'll be good to go with those 3 trains running at the lower level. And I got to get the subway system put back together, because when I was doing the 5th level, signals, I had to take down a bunch of the panels on the subway system on the back side, because there's where the signal was. They were up on the top of the tunnel piece. The terminal block was up there, so I had to unscrew the terminal block, pull it down, unscrew the wires from it. It was a lot easier, and so I have to put them all back together, and that's going to take some time to get them back in place. Then I'll be able to run the subway trains. They haven't run for a while, and then I'll be able to do the video cameras on the subway trains. I will have to do that with the new lights scheme that I did up there. I got to do the camera train on my CSX train in Murrayfield because of the new lights I did in the tunnel. And I want to see how the camera comes out in there. Remember, I was having white spaces when the train went into the tunnel. So I have a blue light in there now, and I want to see if that offsets the white camera view. So that's coming. Like I say, I got all the signals done on the Murrayfield layout, and that's where that train with the tunnel is, with the white out, so I can run that train. But I'd like to get all of the first level signals done before I start running trains and stuff like that. So, and I got a couple other little things to work on. Some of the buildings, the lights aren't on, and that's because of all me moving wires around and pulling wires, and one may have gotten a little loose or something. I gotta check the wires coming down from the lights, and I'll test them, and need somebody else here. When I'm under the layout, I can take a battery and test the lights, and since they all have resistor wires on them, and disconnect them from the accessory bus line and test them to make sure the light bulbs are working still. They are, because the lights come on one day and they're off the next day. So it doesn't make any sense. So some of the little glitches that I got to fix and stuff like that. But there's always something that you have to change. So, like I say, the light at on the signals, the light, it's when you put them on, like when I took the 6 off, all those 6 signals were I don't know what they're supposed to be. I think they're supposed to be green on both sides. I'm not sure. I got to check, see what they are on a JMRI panel. And no, they're all supposed to be green. Okay, so all the lights are supposed to be green. So on the NCE lighted, when the lighted is on the green aspect, the LED on the lighted is solid. That means it's on the green aspect. When it goes to red, that LED goes off. When you're on yellow, the LED is very dim. So that's the color scheme for red, yellow, and green. But these signals I've been working on these lower levels are all red and green aspect dwarf signals. They don't have a yellow LED in them. So they're red and green. And sometimes they don't work. Like I said, I have to take them down. I take them over to the workbench. I test them. Sometimes I just have to hit the button. It flashes, and I reset it with the address and check the aspects. They all work and everything. Other times I have to do a factory reset on the light. And sometimes the worst condition is I have to replace the light with another light. And I've only had to do that twice. Today I had one where I hit the light button and the light didn't come on. So I said, let me try a factory reset. And when you do a factory reset, you set a CV setting in the light, and boom, the light comes back on. It gets reset back to factory defaults, and the light is solid on. And then you can reconfigure it back to the address that you want, and stuff like that. So there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot to that signal project other than just changing the signal in and out. That it's not that easy. So, but on the Helix, I can check the aspects since they're red, yellow, and green. I'll check the aspects on the signal before I pull it out. And if it's working, then I know the light it's good. Then all I have to do is replace the signal and hook it up, and it should be good to go again. But because today, when I took those 6 off, I noticed that some of the lights were off. And I thought maybe they were switched to the red. But according to the JMRI panel, I just took a glance at it for the yard, and they're supposed to be all green. That means the ladder is all the way straight through, in and out. So that's that. All right, guys. Well, I've been on here for over an hour and a half now. I want to thank everybody for coming in tonight. Appreciate it. And just a quickie, did you guys have any trouble seeing me on the screen? Let me bring me up big. It won't let me do it. So you can see me clearly, right? Because this is light set up to be nighttime, and it's blue. This side I left on because I want you to see all the things. Good night, Mike. Thanks for stopping in. John, appreciate you stopping in. Look forward to your videos. Everybody have a good night. Don't forget to watch Jim Tedesco tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And thanks, Chuck. Appreciate it. Very good, Dave. Thanks for the input. Yes, thank you. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Dave, take care. We'll see you later. Good night, everybody. Take care. Thanks, Russ. Appreciate it. Good night, Chris. Thanks for stopping in. Oh, nice, John, on your phone. Okay, good. I'm glad it came in good. Appreciate it. Okay, end stream.